With a game with as many collabs as Fortnite, it's safe to say that there are, well, quite a lot of collabs. And obviously, some are just going to be more popular than others. And because of that, there are going to be some collabs that are left forgotten. You already clicked on the video, you know what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to be talking about Fortnite's forgotten collabs. What do I mean when I say forgotten collabs? I mean collabs that not a lot of people remember, or things that Fortnite just really didn't do a whole lot with. But I'm mainly just going to talk about collabs that people forgot about. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is Nike Air Foria. Now, this has kind of made a comeback recently with a Wave 2, so that's why I'm putting it at the beginning of the list, because it kind of has been remembered now that there's a Wave 2. But even still, when this collab first came out, I don't remember a single person who gave a hot and crispy Kentucky Fried Frick about this collab. The skins, while yes, they were pretty good, they didn't do anything other than a creative map, which, you know, kind of sucks. But what we're saying here is this isn't any popular music artist, this isn't a pop culture character, this is a clothing brand. No one is going to remember this. But like I said earlier in the video, this collab has made a comeback because recently a Wave 2 got added to the game, adding 2 new skins and this guy. I want to shove him in a microwave. Moving on to one that I think a lot of people tend to forget about is the Balenciaga collab. Now you might be saying to yourself, what? The Balenciaga collab? I remember that. They added a bunch of cool skins. Yes, you do remember that part of the collab. But there's also another part of the collab that people tend to forget about quite a lot. And that's the fact that they released IRL clothing that you could buy. Now, Balenciaga is notorious for being expensive, so it's time to play America's favorite game show, The Price is Absurd! Not The Price is Right, we didn't get the legal rights to that. Now, on The Price is Absurd, I'm going to tell you an item, show it to you, and you need to guess how much it is. Ready? Okay, go. First up, we have this woman's white t-shirt. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, this looks like a pretty simple t-shirt. It's probably like 30, 40, maybe 50, $471. It's a white t-shirt with the Fortnite logo. Next, let's take a look at this men's white hoodie. Fortnite Balenciaga. Wow, just look at that in all its glory. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, it's probably like maybe the same price as the t-shirt, so like maybe 300, 400, 500 maybe? No, silly, $767. $767 you are paying. It's a Fortnite hoodie. And finally, if you get this one, you get a special surprise at the end, okay? So, look at this hoodie. You might be thinking, well, it's probably the same price as the white hoodie, so like maybe like I don't know, $700? No, silly, $1,400. Do not spend this money. This is a Fortnite hoodie. All right, moving on from Balenciaga, the Soundwave series. You might be thinking to yourself, what the heck are you talking about? Well, let me tell you what I'm talking about. In Chapter 3, Fortnite launched this thing called the Soundwave series, where I think it was like every single month they would have a new artist, and each of those artists would get a creative map with those songs. No emotes, no skins, no concerts, just a really crappy creative map that you could run through and then get some XP at the end. It really wasn't anything all that special. The maps were pretty rushed and the song selection was kind of mid. They were just overall like really forgettable, not to mention that I live in the US and so I couldn't understand any of the lyrics because they only chose international artists, which I'm not dissing it, by the way. I understand that there are artists that are outside of the US, but it just kind of sucked for me that I couldn't understand any of the lyrics and I was just kind of vibing to some mid music. Next, I want to talk about one that genuinely pains me, the Kid LAROI. Now, the Kid LAROI is probably in my top 5 artists of all time. I really love him. He was my most listened to artist on Spotify last year, and I just really love his music. And so when I heard he was coming to Fortnite, I was hyped. But they just dropped some whole lot of mid. His skin, mid. His concert, mid. His song selection for the concert, mid. It was just all mid. The Kid LAROI has so many good songs, but they chose the most generic ones and some unreleased ones that not a lot of people have heard of unless they're diehard LAROI fans. Maybe that was the intention, like put some unreleased music in there so that way they can bring in more people, so that way like LAROI fans would listen to him. But still, he 100% should have gotten a concert in Battle Royale because the creative map was essentially just a Soundwave series, and that's why it was so forgettable. And I said this earlier, but he has so many better songs than just Stay and What Just Happened. Like, he has really good songs like Diva, Go, Always Do. He has so many good songs, but they just chose the most generic ones and his new single, which is just kind of mid. I'm sorry. I'll stop talking. Okay, next I want to talk. What? Hey, look up. What? Oh my gosh. Do I need to put Subway Surfers by the side? Ugh, okay. There. Is this good? Okay, fine. Next, I want to talk about... Okay, I can't do this anymore. Clearly, you're just tired of me, so I'm just going to bring in Aggro on here so he can talk about some forgotten collabs. Take it away, Aggro.
Alright, what's up guys, I'm Aggro. Thank you to Lewismer for having me, obviously, and I'm just going to go over some of my picks for the most forgotten collabs. First, I have the Resident Evil 4 collab. There was obviously 2 Resident Evil collabs, but I'm only going to talk about this one because I have a lot more reasons of why this could have been forgotten than the other one. I think this collab really went under the radar for a lot of people for many reasons, but I think the main reason is that a lot of times with the gaming collabs, you don't really get anything that's super game changing, and we just get really good cosmetics. And don't get me wrong, these cosmetics are amazing here. This is honestly one of my favorite skins in the game, and I'm kind of sad I missed out on it. When it comes to a season like Mega, where almost every collab was getting something in game, like Attack on Titan with the ODM gear, you had the Spider-Verse collab with the web shooters obviously, and even the Star Wars collab, which is by far the best Star Wars collab we've ever had. So with all that added, when you're dropping these collabs that are pretty minuscule compared to the other ones, when they're these big house names, I don't think it's gonna ring to as much people. And I'm not really sure what they could have done in game that was gonna make it memorable to people, and maybe it would have shaken up the game a little too much where too much was happening, but I think this is definitely a reason why it didn't do too well when we're talking about how memorable it was. And added on to the fact that these skins barely come back to the item shop, even though they've been in the game for almost 2 years if we're talking about the old ones and the new Resident Evil collab. So it's kind of crazy that with how good these skins are, we never see them in the item shop, but I think that's also just a big reason why they're not memorable, unless they get really rare, then maybe they will. Because for some reason, when a collab gets really rare and they haven't come back for a while, people get obsessed with the skins. I'm not really sure why this happens, but you do you. I'm not here to judge you. But one thing I did want to talk about was just Gaming Legends collabs in general and why they don't feel as memorable as a lot of other collabs. It is kind of sad that they're often forgotten because cosmetic wise, these are some of my favorite in the game when it comes to collabs. As someone who's a big video game fan and doesn't really watch much of movies or shows, it's just some of the best skins in the game in my opinion, and I get really happy when they add them. But I think a big reason is that a lot of other Fortnite players don't really care for video games as much as other movies or shows, and that's where they kind of get blown away when they're in comparison to Marvel and, you know, anime collabs, things like that. But when I look back on the Horizons collabs, the Alan Wake collab, the Assassin's Creed collab, and even more, there's not much people talking about most of them. And because I play a lot of other games, half the time I didn't even know that Alan Wake or Leon Kennedy were in the actual game myself until I went onto the website and found it out. I feel like a lot of the more mediocre Marvel characters are more memorable than these because they come back to the item shop way more. I'm not really sure why the Gaming Legends collabs get these treatment. Maybe it's because they don't have as much of a partnership with them as they do with Disney. I'm not really sure, but I think this is a huge reason for that factor. But we've also got in-game content maybe twice for any Gaming Legends character, and the Snake one was pretty mid. As much of a Metal Gear Solid fan I am, I did not care for any of those items that they added to the game. And then we got the Borderlands collab, which is actually pretty good. It was an interesting POI, but other than that, we don't get much for Gaming Legends, which is just taking off another point for how memorable they can be because they really don't have anything to be remembered as game-wise, and since the skins don't come back that much and they might already not be popular because of the games that they're from, that's another reason why they just won't be remembered. Now there are some Gaming Legends collabs that are popular only because of rarity though. If you look at Master Chief, Kratos, or Psycho Bandit, the only reason people really care about them are because they're rare. Sure, Kratos maybe because the game is really good, but other than that, the only reason people care for these is because of how rare they are in the game. And you do have Lara Croft, which is obviously popular because of sweats, and obviously Chun-Li, but that's for another reason that we don't got to talk about. But overall, Gaming Legends collabs just really don't get the treatment they should, and I honestly feel like they should be up on the pedestal with Marvel and anime with the amount of mythics they get. Lastly, I have a brand, and I think brand collabs in general don't really end up doing well when it comes to popularity, or honestly really in general they don't do well because I don't think much people care about these skins. You can see this even earlier when Lil Smurf mentioned Nike, which I'm not going to talk about, but that's just another brand that people don't really buy anything of when it comes to Fortnite. Now for me, I have KAWS. As someone who's a big fashion fan or a big fashion design fan, I love KAWS as a brand and just I love their characters in general. So when I saw they were coming to Fortnite, I ran over to go buy the skin, but I was a little disappointed when I saw that it was only a skeleton style, which I think made the skin look a little uglier. I think they did the Peely skin a little bit better, but I feel like most people aren't whipping out any Peely skin that's not the original one. There definitely are people that will, and even I will sometimes, but overall, they tend to be pretty big. So now people that aren't even interested in the collab in the first place won't buy it because the skin doesn't even look good, but even people that do like the brand might not even didn't cop it because it doesn't really look as cool as you thought it would be, because it's only a skeleton style and nothing else. And then add on the fact that it's a brand collab, I don't think it's gonna do very well because most people don't care about brands. I was talking about this with Gaming Legends, but people still care a lot about the Gaming Legends collab. The brand collabs, I don't think most people even pay attention to them. But that's really all I have for the COS collab. Overall, I think it's a really good collab, and they kind of did cook up with how the face looked and how Peely even looked, but I just think they need a style where he's on his full body and not just a skeleton. But that's all I have for that. Next up, I have Travis Scott.
Thanks, Aggro. Okay, there you have it, everyone. Some collabs that me and Aggro both thought were super forgotten. Maybe if Epic Games did a bit more with these collabs, or just did a couple of things differently, they wouldn't have been as forgotten. But, I mean, I'm not really sure. Maybe some of these collabs were just doomed to fail. Anyways, go check out Aggro's channel. I'll have him linked in the description. He's a really cool channel. Go check him out. With that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.
We got a #1 victory royale, yeah, Fortnite.